I'd like to thank you, Bruce. Thank you, Tom. Thank the most organized person in the world, Ginger Murchison, who's becoming a great friend of mine. Thank all my wonderful friends here in Atlanta. And above all, I'm very thankful and grateful for my students who gave me an extraordinary time while I was here, and I know they will continue to be the writers I know they can be. I'm just trying to find all of them. I'm going to start out, when Bruce was talking about Germany, it made me think about going to Paris for the first time. I went to Paris for the first time as a poet. And you know how Americans go places and they try to act like they know everything already? You know how we are, we're all stuffy, like, oh, I've seen that, oh, I've done that. So this is about my first time in the Louvre. And I was the typical ugly American. I was going around snapping photos of precious works of art. You're not supposed to, I'm running up and down the halls. The guards are after us. It was just awful. So I was there with a friend of mine named Patricia Smith, and they basically had to find us before they closed the place to put us out because we were such bad girls. So this is called Doing the Louvre. It's dedicated to Patricia Smith. You're a junkie just like I am. After we've dumped your husband in the Louvre's cafe to sip the steaming tea and chew on his poetry, we're off like schoolgirls, screeching in duet, dazzled by the bright, eternal gasp of ancient things. We've got no business here, homegirl and compañera. We've got no business closing our mouths around this sharp, exquisite language or savoring the sweet tongue squeeze of pastries, shining cakes, and shaved chocolates. We're of simpler stock. City and country dust, collard greens, moon pies, bullet holes, and basement slow dances. We are shamelessly American, rough street girls with rusty knees, the flip side of cocky Parisian wisp and slim cashmere coats the color of tobacco. Girlfriend, you and I are too much scream for this place, but you're a junkie just like I am. Too long denied access to official beauty, we walk these streets with our mouths open and faces tilted up, swallowing everything, swallowing it all, much too much scenery and sound for our thin American throats. We gawk at cathedrals with their gargoyles bleached to an eerie snarl by bright slashes of moon. Say goodbye when we mean yes, good morning when we mean how much. Ask for bread when we need the toilet. We are amazed that no one is asking for all of this back, that we are allowed to bask in this city's light. I can still hear my mama, as plain and practical as a cast iron skillet. Child, you need to stop all that foolishness over there in some France where you don't know nothing or nobody. Ain't no black folks over there no how. But I know you, old friend, with your bright burnished tangle of hair and deep laugh, and right now these halls belong to us. There are bad girls loose in the Louvre. Girls soft as gunshots. Girls nourished and fueled by silvers, silks, and the stone gaze of Napoleon. We laugh at the smashed noses of Egyptian rulers, stare at the tiny mummified feet of a young girl, mistake Goya for Gauguin, and rub what surfaces we can, including the marbled members of towering deities. When we say things like, hey, I think I saw that on a postcard once, or do you know how old this thing is? How can the world help but love us? We would give Venus our arms. After 8 hours, clicking our hungry heels and snapping illicit flash photos in dark halls brimming with ancient music, we finally find the Mona Lisa, alone, caged and antiseptic behind that glass every woman wears, and we wonder how best to free her, knowing she's a junkie just like we are. She longs for our wild voices, our naive, accidental beauty. She's aching to ditch that frame and skip these hallowed halls with the homegirls, mistake the obscene for the exquisite, and gaze at unsolved mysteries that just for once are not her own. Thank you. This is a poem that found its voice while I was here, and it is dedicated to Gray, and it's called Strom Thurmond's Black Daughter. Once again, that's Strom Thurmond's Black Daughter. I'll just do the title from now on. Thank you, thank you. My new Southern friend tells me everybody knew. And of course, black folks are experts at clutching the secrets of blood and its blindness. Our history is a long, untamed rhythm of freckles, blonde hair napped at its root, that one cousin, somebody who was always too light to be just us, and great Uncle Willie with his single blue eye. Ashamed and entitled, we hold these secrets in the hard bones of our shoulders, in the unwitnessed but necessary holy moan, in those whispers among women in that early Saturday morning Chitlin assembly line. We all knew, he said, although the sin was huge and unwieldy, spilling brashly outside thickly drawn lines, and it must have been oh so hard to hold, especially as the father cursed the very skin he had craved, built a white and naked country inside himself, where even the air was pure and unsullied, and by the way, niggeras he called us, nigger he called her, out loud in his public voice, while she waited on his money and his time. Colored girls, so desperate for daddies, we craft them in our sleep, bail them from their bars, put their faces on the men we marry. We need a father's rough edge, the undercurrent of sex in his breath, the sound of a blade scraping fragranced bristle from his chin. Deny us fathers and our spines dwindle, refuse to support us. We look upon our lone mothers as conniving rivals for the blessing of a man's eye. Deny us our fathers, and we are relegated to lace and porcelain, so easily ripped or shattered, our hearts thumping, skipping beats outside our bodies. We give the name of father to any man until one slips into that shifting skin and pulls all of us into the circle of his arms. We forgive him his trespasses. We forgive those who trespass against him. We forgive him his slanting speech, his rants, the strains of other in his blood, his stench of privilege, his wingtips, his devastations of our mother, his tentative haunting touch. We forgive him his regretted cravings, his unconquerable passions, his languid pronunciation of nigra, the thread of himself in us. We all knew, my Alabama friend says to me, and we can't believe she told. The secret in her, so huge, released. The daughter, thick-ankled, tree-trunk woman, sporting the milky skin of a million mistakes. She walks slow and dragging underneath all that heavy history between her daughter of this America, her son of this America. And wavering clear, she says, my father was Strom Thurmond. She claims him aloud, and the sky does its screaming, a scream so loud it is renamed silence. The silence overwhelms the turning under earth, the rotting mouth shaping its O, the world's deadest man, hearing the secret cut loose. Yes, she is mine, he gestures with a bony hand that crumbles. But she was a thief of my blood. I could never, do you hear me? I could never be hers.